Alright traders, I am back again with another video. In this video we're going to look at the Aussie Swiss franc Kumo breakout opportunity developing here. So we want to take a look at that. We're basically looking at this daily time frame here, and you can see the big long-term trend. So the long-term trend here, let's go even out farther so we could see this. The long-term trend is bearish. Look how, if I just draw one trend line, I could take that from here straight on down, and you can see pretty bearish. All right, the overall market, long term, that is. Okay, so we're going to move into this area, and you can see this is part of that long term trend. But then when we go back here, we're looking at the immediate trend right here, which is bullish. All right, so it's basically, you can see the market moving to the downside, then correcting itself basically. So it's like a big correction, but we're looking at it as the immediate trend right now. All right, so then in this immediate trend, we have corrections. All right, correct and then move higher, correct and then move higher, correct, move higher, correct, move higher. Now, a lot of times we get to these levels, when you get to this Kumo here, the market will make an attempt to break through that level. And if it doesn't break through the level, you don't always see it make a big drop, a big correction. It'll come back and attack it again really quickly. So what we're looking at here, the market came back because we had a level here that we were waiting for the market to get through to see some momentum. So we're going to draw a level there. We're looking to see the market get through this level. So let me move this one here. This is the level we were looking for the market to get through right here. Well, it broke through with this big bar, and then it retraced back to that level, and now it appears to be this level, and that was, which was once resistance, now appears to be support. If this level is going to hold, then we're going to see the market move higher. All right, you're going to break outside of this Kumo. So there's a couple ways you could trade this. So the things that I'm looking at, first of all, is you have a TK crossover that's bullish. I always want to go the directions of the TK crossover more than likely if possible. Now sometimes we're going to be able to get a quicker trade before the crossover, but usually we're following that TK crossover. All right, you can see here we got different crossovers here, but that's because Kijinsen was flat. You had a crossover to the upside, crossover back to the downside, and then you just follow that out. And here we change direction. The structure changed with the move here, and then you could see moving higher. Now the next thing, we got to this Kumo and found resistance. When I look at all of Ichimoku right now, you got a bullish crossover, a bullish TK crossover. Your future is bright, okay? So you got a bright future. Chiku spans above price, and then price is inside this cloud. When it breaks out, that's going to be a bullish sign. All signs will be bullish. This is basic Ichimoku, and you take the trade right there. All right, so a lot of times I don't trade the Kumo breakout, but I'm posting this because a lot of trades, a lot of Kumo breakouts do work. I prefer, if I'm going to take a Kumo breakout, I want to be as close as possible to my support levels, which are going to be your Tenkan-sen and Kijinsen, overall Kijinsen. So if you break that level, how far away from there are you going to be? Because really, when you place a stop loss, you got to place a technical stop loss. Again, I preach this over and over. You cannot just place a stop loss based on how much you can afford. Yes, it has to be based on how much you can afford, but you can't say, well, I can afford 25 pip stop loss, and your 25 pip stop loss is like right here, and the market can move all the way back down to this level. That wouldn't make much sense. You're not giving the market enough room to move or so forth. So first you have to say, find where the technical level is for your stop loss, because it's going to be support and resistance level. And then the next thing you do is decide if that is within your money management. All right, and then if it is, you can't. If it's not, you can't take the trade. If it is, then you take the trade, or you can lighten up your lots or whatever. So we're looking for that Kumo breakout opportunity. Again, the trend here, you can see this trend to the upside. All right, little trend, immediate trend, long-term trend, intermediate trend, and then we got a short-term trend. And we're looking for the market to move higher, quite possibly up to this level here. So if you get this breakout here, depending, you could keep your trend line here and see if you can follow that and try to reach this level up to here, somewhere in this area where that trend line is. Or you can watch to see if the market comes back and bounces off of this trend line, and then you could take a couple trades up into this point. Now the thing is, if you get into the trade here, depending on how far it moves or how it moves for you, you decide how you want to take your profit and where you want to take your profit. A lot of times I just look to my left and look for the next support and resistance level because more than likely that's where the market's going. So I just draw some support and resistance levels and look to see where that market possibly could go to the next level, right? So that could be your next point. Um, you see that level's pretty good. So the market could violate this Kumo here and then move up to this level here about what is that level? We got this level at 0.72721. So that's what we're looking at. Kumo breakout opportunity, basic Ichimoku, very simple, nothing really hard about understanding that. My thing is, I really don't like people to just depend on the indicator to get them into a trade. It's not always going to lead you the right direction. So you got to understand the market also. So you want to understand price action. You want to understand the structure of the market. You want to understand as much as you can about the market instead of just trading blindly and saying, soon as this crosses this or this does this, I'm going to take a trade. The market's more complex than that. It's not about if this does that or that does that. The market's more about what you see happening with that price action, because that can kind of lead you and guide you to understand where the big money is, the institutional flow, the smart money, and it also helps you to understand which way you should be trading, right? Now, yes, Ichimoku is going to help you with that because you get your crossovers, you get your TK crossover, your futures bright, and all that stuff. But it doesn't account for a big correction and things of that nature. So you want to know those kinds of things. You want to know where the support and resistance level is, because yes, this market can continue higher. But suppose we were up here and you got into the trade long, and then it corrected itself, and Ichimoku still showing you a bullish market, and the correction is so big it takes you out, and then the market goes higher. All right, it never broke the structure, but you never knew where you were because you didn't know about support and resistance levels and things of that nature. Now, I don't want to put a ton of support and resistance levels on my chart because I want to be able to pay attention to the market, okay? And let too many things make too much for me. So I keep my support and resistance, try to base it off of the main levels, the levels that are really hit a bunch of times and look really strong, okay? So that's it. Looking at this Kumo breakout opportunity. So the way that I would enter, um, you could put an entry at this level, or you could wait for the candle close. A true breakout isn't until the candle closes. All right, when that candle closes, it'll probably increase your risk because you have to think about where you're going to put your stop loss. Okay, so for me, a lot of times where I put my stop loss, I try to be two candles behind the market. But if you look at this, we had a big strong candle. Now, the real way that Ichimoku teaches you is to put a stop loss at Kijinsen. That's not going to be, to me, that's going to be super far. All right, so even if we just look at that right now, all right, if you say you took an entry there, your stop loss is almost 9,800 pips almost just to get to that point. So that's one thing that you have to think about and understand. So that's why I like to look at, other things in the market, support and resistance levels. Now, again, a good level could be this level right here, because this was a support and resistance level. The market came up to that level twice. One, two, on the third attempt it broke through. It created it on the first, so we came back to it twice. The second attempt we really broke through. Then it looks like the third, like the next move was correcting on that level and then possibly moving to the upside. So you could use that as a support and resistance level. So then how I would reduce this now is what I would take this breakout trade. All right, either wait for the candle to close or take your entry here and put a stop loss below this candle slightly. Now the market's gonna, if it gets trending really well, it's gonna follow Tinkinson really nice, as you can see, like it did here. All right, so you want to make sure once you start trending and moving well, and you are trending a little bit, that you want to stay below that Tinkinson. But we don't have angulation, which is the problem, and I want to see angulation in order for me to take a good trade. But I'd like to put my level there for a breakout or wait for the candle to close and then put your stop loss, and your profit could be up to this point, maybe corrects, and then see if we could attack this level here. That's longer term thinking. All right, so we'll see what this market's going to do. Never know what it's going to do, but you always plan for whatever it might do. All right, so till next time, guys, have a great one. God bless. So long.